Right, welcome back, and let me again welcome our guest, Dr. Ibrahim, Mostafa Ibrahim, former senior advisor to the Minister of Investment. And let me go directly with our topic. And despite great challenges Egypt has been seeing earlier, facing the energy and outages and providing energy to the local market and all this, the Egyptian state has been able to transform challenges and difficulties into opportunities, real opportunities on the ground, and many gains. A number of reform measures and policies have been taken in the energy sector within the framework of new strategy to ensure the supply of security, sustainability, and rational management. What were exactly those measures?
No, just first, the government adopted, the energy strategy by having that energy mix between several, types of energy, combined cycles, water, renewable, all these stuff. Reaching and targeting, to achieve 20% of the total energy production in Egypt by 2022 from producing, from the renewable energy, to reach out 42% by 2035, which is very important because the whole world is moving ahead to the green energy and the clean energy, and this comes from the solar and the renewable energy type. If we looked back into 2014, we had a shortage in the electricity, in the energy in general. That's why the government took a decision to move quickly in this file by targeting specific companies to cover the shortage in that time. We were producing 31,000 megawatt in that time, and we reached currently 59,000 megawatt, which means we have achieved more than 60% of our total production in 7 years. I think it's very important that we currently see that we have surplus in our energy sector. That's why we are supporting other countries around, like Sudan and Lebanon, by providing them with the electricity, natural gas, and other stuff. I think it was a very good decision at that time to have this. Focusing on that time, because the energy infrastructure, all these stuff are called enablers for the economy and for the business environment in general. Egypt invested a huge number of investment in the infrastructure. It exceeded 2.3 trillion Egyptian pound. It's by the US dollar, it's around more than 147 billion US dollars, which is a very big number. That have been injected to the economy and the infrastructure sector, not only in the energy, building houses, as we see and as we saw in the report that you, show on the TV. All these things, very important things that to build the new Republic of Egypt. It's very important to having this, initiative, trying to brand Egypt again and reposition Egypt in the region and in the world. I think all these things are very important, for not only for the state, for the Egyptians as well.
In order to announce the new republic, as you said respectively here, many measures were taken in this context. One of them was the energy sector and the energy file, which is seen as part and parcel of any developmental plans and programs for any country to develop and to grow.
As I told you, it's a kind of enabler. One of the main important enabler for both the economy in general and the business environment, from one side, and the other side for the Egyptian citizens as well.
Let's take it. Now we are aware of the domestic side and how Egypt has been able to fulfill the domestic needs of people. Let me take it here from investment and attracting FDIs to Egypt, and how people coming to invest in Egypt realized how energy sustainability can really affect their investment.
I want to give you an example regarding what happened with Siemens. Siemens, it was an opportunity for them to invest in Egypt, because having this kind of strong negotiations with them to cover the shortage in that time, I think this decision not only was, I mean, for the sake of Egypt at that time, it was also for the sake of the company as well, because the company at that time was suffering from, I mean, shortage in liquidity in that time. So we used, I mean, the economic position of that company as well, using their capacities and they invested in this. I mean, we invest in this regard about 10 billion US dollars in this sector. In the last, I mean, 6 years, which is very important to have this figure. I mean, not only in the electricity side. I mean, in oil and gas as well. We have many huge investments have been injected to this sector. So, like, I mean, the natural gas. I mean, Eni and Zohr. It saved around 3 billion US dollars for the Egyptian budget. I mean, because we were importing. I mean. A lot of natural gases in the past, and now currently we save this, I mean, figure for our own purpose. Yes. In addition to that, this helped the Egyptian government to look to other programs to apply, like Haya Karima, Decent Lives, and Takaflat Karama, as you said. I mean, Haya Karima cost, it's around 40 billion euro. I mean, which is a very huge number that needs, I mean, all the parties to be involved in this initiative, because it started, I mean, in March 2019, after having this kind of surplus that had been achieved to the Egyptian budget, start to look to the Egyptian citizens to enhance their lives, to enhance the services around they are living in. All these things, I mean, is very important for all of us, not only for, I mean, if we are going to build the new republic, as you said, we should have these kind of initiatives to enhance whether the economy from one side or the Egyptian citizen lives.
Right. Not only that Egypt has already fulfilled the domestic needs and went forward in order to attract more investment, but also is moving towards becoming an electrical and energy hub between region and Europe. Before we continue on with our discussion, let's have this quick report and we'll come back for more discussion.
Okay.
The Egyptian Electricity Transmission Company and the Saudi Electricity Company have recently signed contracts for the implementation of an electrical interconnection project between the two countries. The project is scheduled to start operations by 2024 and has a total capacity of 3,000 megawatts, with surplus electrical power to be exchanged between the two countries during peak times, which are different for each. The electrical interconnection project will link the national grids of the two countries from Badr City in Egypt to Medina and Tabuk in Saudi Arabia via a transmission line stretching over 1,300 kilometers and marine cables in the Gulf of Aqaba to a length of 22 kilometers. The first phase of the project is expected to be operational in late 2024 with a capacity of 1,500 megawatts. It is scheduled to be operational within about 36 months of the signing and to be completed after 52 months at a total cost of $1.8 billion. Sabah Meshali, Managing Director of the EETC, pointed out that the project, when operational, will achieve a number of benefits for the two countries, including enhancing the reliability of the national electrical grids, supporting their stability and benefiting from the excess capacity of electricity generation available in the two countries, as well as timing differences in their peak electrical loads. The line between Egypt and Saudi Arabia provides the possibility of selling energy to the Gulf countries in the future. Egypt and Saudi Arabia have the largest electricity generation networks in the Arab world, with a total capacity of 150,000 megawatts, representing 38% of the total capacity of all the Arab countries. Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy Mohammed Sheikh stressed the importance of electrical interconnections with neighboring countries, referring to the existing links with Jordan, Libya and Sudan. He added that the government has allocated about £77 billion to the electricity sector until 2024, saying that Egypt is looking to increase its links with other Arab, African and European countries. Sheikh said that Egypt is an active participant in regional electricity network projects, especially with neighboring countries, and that Cairo has signed a cooperative agreement with the Global Energy Interconnection Development and Cooperation Organization, covering a number of fields, mainly electrical interconnections. Egypt's power link with Jordan has a capacity of 450 megawatts, and its link with Libya is 200 megawatts. Sheikh had confirmed that there are plans to raise the capacity of the link with Libya to approximately 2,000 to 3,000 megawatts. In April, the EETC turned on the electrical current in the interconnection line with Sudan to a capacity of 70 megawatts in the first phase out of a total of 300 megawatts to be reached in the future. The cost of the first phase is $6.8 million. Work is currently underway to increase the transferred capacity between the two countries. The completion of the final steps of projects linking Egypt with Saudi Arabia, in addition to with Cyprus and Greece, are also near, such that Egypt becomes a regional hub for energy exchange with Europe and the Arab and African countries. Sheikh had announced that an electrical interconnection project between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece will be signed soon, with Egypt planning to export up to 3,000 megawatts of electricity to Cyprus and Greece. Egypt signed in May 2019 an MOU on electrical interconnection between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece via the island of Crete. Egypt's Daba nuclear power plant is expected to start operations in 2026 with a total capacity of 4,800 megawatts.
Right. Welcome back, and as quickly as possible, because our time is running out, and Egypt's vision to turn the country into a regional hub. How do you view that? What's your expectations, and how Able is capable or will be capable to do that, please?
Just having, these agreements with Cyprus, Greece, and this will organize, producing, the oil and gas in the Mediterranean. And this will make Egypt, as mentioned in the report, will be the regional hub for the energy sector, using, the strategic location of the of Egypt. In addition to that, as well as, the trade path of Suez Canal. And in addition to that, having in mind that this sector is very potential for more investment, to attract more investment, because Egypt is targeting to double the capacity from 20% in 2022 to reach 42% of the total energy production by 2035. Having this the 22% increase, this will make this sector very attractive to attract more investment, and this will help Egypt, to be a gate, whether to the Arab African countries or to the European from the other side.
Please.
Using these capabilities, this is very important. These are very important to the Egyptian economy in the future. This made, many institutions to have a kind of positive outlook about the Egyptian economy in the future.
Yes, if I may finish with Egypt going with the theme of the world go green, and how Egypt has diversified its potentials and sources for or special interests in renewable energies and the opportunities it is offering for the world in this regard.
Actually, there is an international call by several international institutions, to move from traditional fuel production to renewable energy. This is very important. They called all the countries around the world to start thinking about the green energy production, trying to gradually leave the traditional one. And this is what caused, what we call the international prices have been increasing in the last few months because of the high demand on energy sector. In addition, in parallel to that, the production in the current time is not covering, the demand side. Why? Because many countries were locked down in the last year because of COVID-19, and this caused what we call the shortage and providing all inputs of the production, industrial production, whether energy or other raw materials or intermediate products.
Right. So what has Egypt offered? Opportunities here. Investment opportunities here for
That's why
greener
Egypt is
energy.
focusing on the green energy by focusing on the renewable energy, by attracting local and regional and international investors to invest in this sector. And this, I mean, will be a very potential sector to all investors, whether inside the market or from other countries around the world.
Actually, this is a sector that I really want to focus on in coming episodes, but my time is out here. Dr. Ibrahim, Mostafa Ibrahim, former Senior Advisor to the Minister of Investment. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Tomorrow would be another important debate with another colleague. Good night.